As the nation's vaccine drive ramps up, Dollar General has become one of the first large companies to offer employees an incentive to get shots. The retailer said it will give hourly employees an extra 4 hours of pay if they get vaccinated. Dollar General employs more than 157,000 people across 46 states. Many of them have been working inside stores during the pandemic. LinkedIn polled its users to see if they think employees should make vaccinations mandatory. 46% say yes, 40% say no, 14% are unsure. Jesse Hempel is LinkedIn's senior editor at large. Jesse, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Do you think other companies are going to follow Dollar General's lead on this?
I think there's no question that we're going to see companies start to speak up and talk about the incentives that they're going to use to try to encourage their employees to get vaccinated. Absolutely.
What do you think? What's the debate inside corporations at this point? Because there's the issue of, do you make it mandatory because you want everybody in your workforce to be safe? What are they talking about?
I think that you've actually hit on the tension here. I mean, there is pressure to make it mandatory. Certainly, I was surprised that so many members of LinkedIn's community thought that it was a good idea. Nearly half of the people who weighed in said, yes, do make it mandatory. But of course, companies know that if they make it mandatory, which they can legally do, they risk alienating and further polarizing their employees. And so the balance here is to provide the incentives that are going to encourage them to do the right thing in the name of science for public health, while also allowing them to feel that they are making the decision.
What responsibilities do corporations, do companies, businesses have to help their employees get vaccinated at this point?
Well, businesses are in such a unique position right now because they really are leaders in culture and society. And so their responsibilities are definitely to their employees. But when Dollar General makes a statement like they made yesterday, it's reported on national news. Here we are talking about it on television because it also sends a really important message to society, to their employee base, but also their customer base and the communities in which they do business.
In so many ways, companies have been leading during this in terms of encouraging, stores telling people you got to wear a mask, which governments aren't doing.
I think about that all the time because if you look at what trust has done in our society over the last couple of decades, you've seen trust plummet in institutions like the media, like government, and yet people trust businesses more and more and more. They're looking to businesses, rightly or wrongly, for messages about how they should behave and how they should treat each other. And so businesses have a unique opportunity right now to step up and be leaders here.
But it's also in their interest, is it not, if you want your workforce back, and in many cases they need to be back and to be safe?
Oh, no question, no question. Business as usual is not going to happen until people are vaccinated, until people are through this pandemic, and that is not going to happen until we get that vaccination rolled out as quickly as possible. And I so wish that it would be happening more quickly, but the truth is it's going to be a long time from here. This is going to be a slow process. Even when we do start to go back to our offices, we're going to be using the kind of protocols with social distance and masks that we see today.
You mentioned that there is this conversation going on about whether to make it mandatory or not, and that incentives is a better idea. But obviously, businesses are going to want to move quickly on this once things start to turn. So what's the conversation then? What's the friction in the conversation then at this moment?
I think that what I'm seeing in conversations on LinkedIn is questions about the vaccine. We know a lot about the vaccine. We know the vaccine protects you. We want to know more about what the vaccine does for the community of people in the office. As you know, it is unresolved yet whether or not research doesn't tell us whether you can still pass COVID even if you don't get COVID. So I think that businesses are going to need to wait to let some of that be further understood before they bring people back en masse. And I think also what I'm seeing in conversations on LinkedIn is that people, by and large, even though they don't want their employees to mandate this, they're really asking for their employees to encourage this. People are not going to feel safe, at least they're telling us that on LinkedIn, until they feel like most of the people, in fact, all of the people that they're going to work with have gotten the vaccine.
Jesse Hempel of LinkedIn, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.